What's going on? Welcome in to Outkick the show. I'm your fearless leader, Clay Travis. My sign, my stage here is a little bit off. I've been on the road for 2 weeks. I got to reassess. I got to get back in working order. I hope all of you are having a fan. You get to see my shorts, hot pink shorts for everybody today. I hope all of you are having a spectacular day. Welcome into Outkick the show, presented by Oddshark. Go to Oddshark for all of your gambling or informational related needs. Got to get my stage set up here a little bit better at some point by tomorrow and make sure that I've got the right situation. But we begin with an incredible series of stories today. What are you looking forward to? Again, remember, Outkick the show every single Monday through Friday. Go to Oddshark for all your gambling and informational related needs. After last night, fair question for discussion. Are the Warriors the best NBA team of all time? If you listen to Outkick the show this morning, you know that I made the case that they would beat the Jordan-era Chicago Bulls. That Jordan-era team went 72-10 in the regular season, 15-3 in the postseason, for a combined, I believe I'm correct in this, 87-13 overall record. If the Warriors win out now, they are 14-0 so far in the playoffs, combined with 67-15 in the regular season. Right now, they are, I believe if I'm correct about that, 81-15. So, is there going to be a way that we can classify this as the greatest basketball team of all time? I certainly believe that there is. I think they're going to win in 5. I've been telling you since the get-go they were going to win game 1. They were going to lose game 2. Win game 1, game 2, lose game 3, win game 4, and game 5. I think there are a lot of big storylines coming out of it. I think one of them is this question: is Kevin Durant now better than LeBron James? Especially when you consider that Durant's only 28 years old, that he's advancing on a guy in LeBron James who is 32 years old. No matter how much HGH LeBron James takes, eventually Father Time is going to win. I think LeBron James has peaked. I think it's time for all the LeBron James stands out there, and there are many, to acknowledge that LeBron James has peaked and he is now on the backside of his career. Now, he's had a hell of a career, the longest reign that I can remember as being the greatest basketball player of all time in a very, very long NBA tenure. But I thought if you looked, LeBron knew he had to be basically perfect. He knew he had to do everything imaginable in order to win this game, and he was still unable to get it done. And so as a result, I believe that we have now entered into the backside of LeBron James's career, and the NBA is now going to become Kevin Durant's league. But we'll see. We'll see what happens on Wednesday, and we'll see what happens on Friday. Decent chance that the NBA season is over by Friday. Okay, let's dive into Twitter murders for a minute, and then we will discuss more about the Warriors. No, before we get to Twitter murders. Before we get to Twitter murders, let me discuss why I had to spend yesterday murdering so many different bitches who are members of the liberal sports media. If you have not seen the slaying that went down, I was like Jon Snow in the most recent season of Game of Thrones after he was resurrected. I murdered in cold blood this bitch Nick Wright and this bitch Mike Florio. Both of them total losers. Both of them coming at me and being slayed in cold blood in front of everybody. Why were they mad? They're mad because they're left-wing losers, and because their worldview reflects the idea that someone is always being discriminated against, that there's always a victim. There's two types of people in this world today. There's the people who look for reasons why people are being victimized and make excuses, and there's the people who aren't pussies, who adopt the DBAP lifestyle. And if you adopt the DBAP lifestyle, then what you make a decision about is that you're going to be the master of your domain, that you're going to be the captain of your ship, that you're not going to look for external factors or external reasons why you aren't going to be successful. You are going to own you. And that's over and over again the message that I give you guys. Own yourself. Make decisions and own the decisions that you make. Don't look to external factors for why you're not being successful. Don't look to the world at large as a reason why you are failing. Own yourself. Part of owning yourself, to be frank, is about knowing what facts are and what facts aren't. And so for me, I like to find actual facts. You can call me crazy. You can call me a madman. You could call me a cocky motherfucker, but what I do is look for facts. And in this LeBron James graffiti hate racism incident that has been covered by 99.9% of the media as if it is real world, I have just been asking some simple questions. What do we know? Who did it? What witnesses are there? What evidence is there in effect right now that says that there was a racist graffiti incident that happened at LeBron James's Los Angeles home? Because if you're watching this right now, you know that the way ESPN covered this, and you know the way the rest of the liberal sports media followed them was LeBron James says this happened, and immediately everybody assumes that it actually happened. But what evidence actually exists that makes this story believable? I always put on my lawyer hat. People say, why do you say you're a lawyer? Why do you put on your lawyer hat? Because the first thing you learn when you go to law school is that before you can determine the relevance of an issue, you have to first determine what the facts of an issue are. But if you don't know the facts, then you can't argue the law, because the facts are what the law is based on. So I always go and try to find out the facts. People say, oh, that's stupid. Well, that's kind of the purpose of conducting any kind of investigation. I go find out what the facts are, okay? The facts on the LeBron James incident, as we know them so far, as I am speaking now, 6 days after the incident, at around 4 o'clock Eastern, thereabouts, here is what we know. Okay, are you guys ready? We know that at 6:44 a.m. Eastern on last Wednesday, nearly a week from now, somebody called the LAPD and said there was racist graffiti on LeBron James's gate of his $21 million LA mansion. By the time police arrived there, that graffiti had allegedly already been painted over, and all the evidence that existed was somebody there at LeBron's residence provided a picture of the graffiti that they had taken. Now, that seems a little bit suspect. There was no surveillance video entered into evidence according to the LAPD spokespersons who I called on Friday. So the only evidence that this happened at all of the attention that's gone into this, all of the coverage of this, quote, racist graffiti incident from everybody in the sports media, 99.9% of whom automatically assumed that it was a white person. The only evidence that we have that this incident actually took place is an alleged photo that was taken by LeBron James's people at the house. LeBron James himself didn't see it. He wasn't there. We don't even know who the witness is. We don't even know what that picture looks like because, again, by the time the police arrived, there was no tangible evidence that existed there. There is no surveillance video. Therefore, there is no way on earth that anybody can actually be prosecuted for this crime because the police weren't even able to undertake whether it actually happened, and they were not able to actually witness it themselves because it had already been painted over. Now, I asked you several questions in that article. I'd encourage you to go read it at Outkick. First of all, why cover up the racist graffiti? That is a crime scene, okay? If you believe that that racist graffiti needs to be blocked from view in the public, that's a perfectly fine decision. You can hang a bedsheet over the gate. Or you can open the gate because, as I posted, there are two different pictures. That gate slides all the way open and would be completely invisible from the street while they waited for the police to arrive. How convenient is it that there's no surveillance cameras, that they managed to call the police yet paint over this graffiti before the police actually got there to view it themselves? That's important. It's a crime scene. You have the ability to take the spray paint, to analyze it, to figure out more likely than not who did it. God forbid why there wasn't a surveillance camera actually working on a $21 million mansion that wasn't the primary residence of somebody. Many of you watching this right now have surveillance cameras on your homes, and they cost much less than $21 million, and they certainly probably are not your second home. So why did they make the decision to paint over? It's a fascinating question. First thing I would say, if somebody did racist graffiti on my house, call the police. Second thing I would say, maybe cover it up. Third thing I would say, paint it so that it's not there by the time the police arrive. Doesn't make any sense. Here's the other thing. That call was made at 6:44 a.m. The sunlight began to rise at around 5:42 in Los Angeles on that day. That is, sunrise had happened. So there's a full hour in the Brentwood neighborhood of sunrise after this incident takes place. We assume it happened overnight and not during the day because that would mean that there was another full day that the graffiti was on the house. Are you telling me? I have spent a lot of time in LA. I've been up very early in the morning in LA for a long time. LA is an early rising town because many people, especially in wealthy neighborhoods, are trying to keep up with the East Coast because they work with the stock market, because they work with East Coast companies, all of these things. Are you telling me that in a neighborhood like Brentwood, where everybody would have known which house was LeBron James's, that everybody out walking their dogs, that everybody out driving to work to beat the LA traffic in the morning, that everybody out jogging to get in an early morning workout, not one person jogged by, walked their dog by, or drove by that home and thought to themselves, my God, there's a racial slur on LeBron James's gate, and took their own picture, because there's not one picture on Twitter, there's not one picture on Facebook, there's not one picture on anywhere. Newspaper guy, somebody just said, newspaper guy drives by early in the morning. There's not one person who saw this and took a picture of it and sent it to TMZ, tried to sell it knowing how much of a story this would be. It just doesn't pass the smell test. And if that did happen, if the graffiti is there, why in the world did nobody else see it? Because the police weren't called till 6:44 a.m. And why in the world is surveillance cameras not working, which would allow us to see exactly who was doing it? The point of it is this. I am probably the only person in all of sports media who is asking the question, why is there no public evidence of this LeBron James graffiti? And why did everybody assume that it was a white person who did it, which would make it a racist act? Isn't it just as likely that it's a crazy black person, Hispanic person, Asian person? Doesn't the story completely change based on who does the graffiti? We don't have any public evidence, and we don't know who did it, yet the entire sports media has already decided that LeBron James is a modern-day Emmett Till, because everybody praised him for comparing himself to Emmett Till, 14-year-old black kid who was killed in Mississippi in a racist lynching and was never had anybody come to justice. It's amazing that nobody else asked for proof, nobody else asks for any kind of evidence whatsoever in this case. Maybe it was a racist white guy who decided randomly on a Wednesday before the NBA Finals that he was going to strike his blow in favor of racism and decided to write a racial slur on a graffiti gate where LeBron James doesn't even live. Maybe that happened. Seems unlikely to me. And if you look at the evidence, I think it seems unlikely to you too. Maybe, who knows, maybe it was LeVar Ball, master of attention. Maybe it was Caitlyn Jenner. Maybe it was Bruce Jenner. Maybe she had gone back to being male that day. I don't know. Again, why do people call you racist when you refuse to believe that something happened when there's no evidence to support it? Maybe it was Bill Maher. Maybe it was Bill Maher. Lots of people in LA who could have been racist, who had a motive. We'll see exactly what the story is. Okay, questions. Questions from you guys about the LeBron James quote. The fact that nobody's asked any of these questions I just asked you. The fact that there's no public evidence yet. I called the LAPD again. The only evidence they have is a picture that was provided by somebody at LeBron's house. The LAPD could not prosecute this case right now based on the evidence they have because they don't have video, because they weren't even able to take their actual pictures. If you thought this was really a hate crime, would you really paint and cover it up and not allow the police to cover their own story? Why make it up? I don't know. I don't presume to understand the motives. All I will say is this. LeBron James got an awful lot of favorable media attention for being anti-racism. 99.9% of the coverage that LeBron James got was all positive. He certainly didn't get any negativity for this. So why does it matter? I would just ask you the question, did LeBron James benefit from this? I don't think LeBron James was necessarily involved at all because he wasn't even home. They just called him and told him what they found. Would it surprise you if LeBron James employed a flunky who was willing to fake something like this because he thought it made LeBron James look better? That seems every bit as reasonable of a hypothesis as a hardcore KKK member finds himself in the Brentwood neighborhood of Los Angeles and decides to spray paint the third or fourth home of LeBron James a racial slur. So as a result of my article, which asked legitimate questions that we don't have answers to about one of the biggest stories that existed in the world of sports last year, this guy, Nick Wright, and this guy, Mike Florio, decided to try to step to me on Twitter. Nick Wright called me fake. And then he posted a private email exchange that many of you probably saw. You can go read it if you would like at Clay Travis on Twitter. I wrote in that email the exact things that I say to you guys every single day. I said that I was a radical moderate, that I thought that the left and the right wing of this country were both bad and that they dictated all of the coverage. That as a radical moderate, I want both the far left and the far right in this country to be upset. Every single day, I say that on this show. Every single day, I say that on my radio show. Every single week, certainly, I write it on Outkick the Coverage. And I have been doing that for 2 years now. Somehow, he thought that if he published a private email, he was going to humiliate me because I was being something inauthentic. I, whether you like me or not, am the most authentic person in sports media. Every day, I sit down and tell you exactly what I think. Bar none. Some days you may agree with it. Some days you may not agree with it. Every single day, I do it. And that, 100%, is the truth. So all he did, I've never seen somebody so dumb. All he did was, first of all, violate the tenets of email, right? By sharing an email that was private, that he hadn't written. And I reacted to it by saying, this proves that I'm telling the truth. He bases his entire life work on far left radical ideology. Nick Wright does. And I'm starting to think Mike Florio does too. They're sitting around whining about Colin Kaepernick. Oh, woe is Colin Kaepernick. It's so racist that nobody will sign him. Oh, cry, tears, wails, rending my garments, clutching my pearls, falling down deep in agony and distress. AKA writhing in bitchdom. And the truth of the matter is this. I'm in the middle of the road. I call people when they're bitches. And both those guys were bitches last night, and both of them got slayed. If you want to go see what Twitter cold blood murder looks like, go check it out. Don't step to me if you're in the junior varsity. All right? If you're not a varsity player, don't even try to step to me. It's way too easy for me to end you. And most of my critics, in fact, let's be honest, all of my critics are JV players. They're 8th graders hoping to get promoted to varsity, and I'm a goddamn pro. All right? It ain't going to end well for you. I'm going to end you. That's the truth. And then, the dude. There's the other dude who works at the Monday Morning Quarterback that called me racist, and he beat up a cab driver and stole his car, and he still has his job. How many of y'all out there, if you beat up a cab driver and stole the damn cab driver's cab, would still be employed? And then you're going to call me racist because I said Cam Newton got paid to play at Auburn? And also because I'm asking basic questions about the LeBron James story? Everybody decided it was racist graffiti before they even determined whether there was any graffiti or the person who did it was racist. That seems to me to be entirely backwards. See, people in the sports media, other than me, they want whatever the stories are to fulfill their expected worldview. And we've seen this happen many times before. Duke lacrosse, Missouri, Ryan Lochte, stories that get a great deal of traction online that have white guys as the villains all go all the way to the moon. Right? People decide, oh, those Duke lacrosse players were rapists. Oh, Ryan Lochte's a privileged white dude. He definitely is lying about getting robbed. Oh, Peyton Manning definitely sexually assaulted that girl and got away with it because he's Peyton Manning because he's a rich white guy. Oh, Peyton Manning's going to play with Donald Trump golf. What a racist white guy he is. All of these things are stories, 100%, that are advanced because people want that worldview to be true. And as a result, nobody actually stops to do the research to see whether or not that action actually supports the worldview. Are there racist people? Yes. Do I think right now, based on the public evidence that we have, any racist white person spray painted a racial slur on LeBron James's Los Angeles home? No. If you were on a jury and I presented you with the following evidence, there is absolutely no public evidence. The only evidence is this picture that somebody provided to the police. They wiped clean the graffiti and painted over it before the police arrived. There's no surveillance tape at all. Would you convict anybody of this case? Of course not. You would sit back and say, wait a minute, this makes absolutely no sense. And that's the truth. That's the truth. There's no public evidence. Right now, there is zero evidence that a racist white person attacked LeBron James. Ask yourself this. Why am I the only person telling you that? Why am I the only person in sports media who has said there is zero public evidence that LeBron James was victim of a racist hate crime? Lots of people in sports media, right? Why am I the only person to actually call the LA Police Department? Why am I the only person to point out how strange it is that they covered up this graffiti miraculously before the police got there, that there's no surveillance tapes, and that the only witness so far is, again, somebody in LeBron's camp? You guys know how much I love and how well things are going with Outkick. I have now taken over all ad sales for Outkick Digital as well as Outkick the Show on Facebook and on Twitter. And we have had tons of different people rolling in who want to advertise with us. You can email me, claytravis@gmail.com, and we have a new advertiser today, and we've got a lot of new advertisers coming on soon in time for the football season. And the newest one is Magic Realty. And I want to tell you all about Magic Realty. Have you ever heard the horror stories of people who bought timeshare sitting through a 2-hour presentation? Don't make the same mistakes your parents made. Don't buy directly from the developer. Buy from thousands of people who want out of their timeshares. You'll be glad that you did. In most cases, you'll save 90% off developer cost. Think about that. Right now, you can save 90% off a place to stay. You can own a Marriott timeshare in Orlando for only $2,500 compared to the $28,000 initial cost that the owner paid. Why not get hooked up now with an incredible deal? Contact Magical Realty to help you save big on your future vacations. I'm going down there and staying in a 3-bedroom condo the next time I take my kids to Disney World. You can do the same. Why pay $28,000 for a unit every year when you can get one for $2,500? All you have to do to save big on your future vacations is email them at info@magicrealty.com. That's info@magicrealty.com. Get hooked up now, and you will be glad that you did. All right, boys and girls, what additional questions do we have? Again, go check out Magical Realty. Fantastic situation. I just came back from downtown. I'm headed back downtown tonight. You will be fantastically hooked up tonight because the Preds are hosting the Penguins. Big time game for Nashville. The Preds are going to tie it up at 2 games apiece and head back to Pittsburgh, win Game 5, and then come back to Nashville and close it out in Game 6. I will be at that game. I cannot wait to get there. It is going to be absolutely fantastic. It'll be exhilarating. It will be thrilling. You will be glad that you were able to be there. And you, my friends, will be very happy to see it as well. I hope a bunch of you are going to be at the Preds game. I know that a lot of you will be there. What questions do you guys have about any of the topics today? We have talked about the NBA Finals, LeBron's graffiti and the lack of any public evidence that exists for it, the Preds, Magical Realty, and my murder of 3 different losers on Twitter. Mike Florio, Nick Wright, the far left-wing loser, Robert Klemko. All of them tried to step to me. All of them were immediately slayed because they have no facts or evidence on their side. I feel bad for them. They are JV, and I am pro level. That's the truth. All right, questions that you guys have. Any questions? The Ryan brothers fight. I haven't even seen the Ryan brothers fight. I haven't seen them downtown yet. I saw that video. Haven't seen them in person yet. Rob and Rex Ryan, I believe, now both live in Nashville, continuing the insane popularity that show has gained. Nashville's show has brought in everybody. The city is exploding. I saw that video. Hopefully they don't injure any good-looking girls before the Preds game. I hope that their brawl doesn't spill over into the streets and hurt anybody else. A lot of you taking Catfish to the game. I hope you have a good time. Good luck. But we need Catfish on the ice in Pittsburgh for Game 5. Hank Jr. back to save MSESPN. Did you see that MSESPN released a study that said MSESPN is not actually conservative? Look, they know that they're losing viewers. They're hemorrhaging viewers. Their business is collapsing. They're trying to suddenly win back conservative viewers. They're hiring Hank Williams Jr. They're releasing on that same day a story about how ESPN isn't actually politically biased. You know they are. I know they are. Their ratings continue to sink to levels that haven't been seen in decades. Nobody is watching ESPN's original programming. They're in trouble right now. Adam Silver needs to get Tim Donaghy on the phone. Otherwise, NBA ratings, in terms of numbers who watch the NBA Finals, are going to be down 50%. They're not going to be able to make the money back that they need to make the money back. It's a potential disaster for ESPN. And so they're saying, We're going to give back Hank Williams Jr. to all the conservatives out there, even though he called Barack Obama or compared him to Hitler on Fox and Friends one day. Maybe next they're going to go try to hire Kurt Schilling back. Maybe they're going to come to me at Outkick and say, Clay Travis, we know you're a multimillionaire. Can we give you millions more? And I'll say something simple. I'll say, look, so far I've turned down every television opportunity that I've got. I've gotten years now of Fox trying to get me to move out to LA and take over a television show. You know what I've said so far? I have a great existence. I have a great existence in Nashville. My family's happy. My wife is happy. I'm not willing to move. If you want to come to Nashville and allow me to do a show here daily, I'll do it from here. But otherwise, I'm making a great living. I've got a great life. I got an 8,000 square foot house in Nashville. I'm in the process of buying a beach home where I can work from a few months out of the year. I got a happy and healthy wife. You got a happy wife, you got a good life. Like, why would I leave for TV? I don't need to move across the country in order to have a big audience. You know, we did 20 million uniques last year on Outkick with podcast, with Periscope, with Facebook, and with the website. Like, we have a massive audience. And I think one of the things that you see when people try to step to me or to Outkick is they're insulted by the size of our audience. There are a lot of jealous people out there. People who don't have the audience that we have, people who haven't created that audience out of nothing. I mean, when I started writing online 14 years ago, I had literally 0 writers, 0 readers, 0 reason why anybody at all would pay attention to me. And then we grew it into a massive audience. And it's turned into an absolute onslaught of interest. I never thought that we would be doing millions a year in revenue. I never thought that we would be talking about some of the big moves that we're talking about making that I'll be able to announce in the near future. But we're ahead of the media curve. And as a result, there are incredible things coming here. I think there's a lot of jealousy out there. A lot of people losing their jobs. A lot of people who haven't had the success that we've had. A lot of people who don't have the audience loyalty. There's not very many people who can walk into a bar in any part of the country and somebody's going to know them there that works in sports media, who hasn't even spent that much time on television. We can do that with Outkick. That happens every single place I go. Tonight I'm going out to the Preds game. Thousands of you will be there who are huge Outkick fans. Same's true all over the country. And that's because of you. You guys are a credit. I read an interesting study once. It said, how do rock stars go to become rock stars? Some people think that the way you become a rock star is by trying to appeal to everybody. Interesting fan studies. You know how you become a rock star? You become a rock star by finding people who love you and giving you more of what they love. That's the honest truth. You find the people who love you, and then you give them more of what they love, and they become evangelists for you. And that's what we have now. Never spend $1 on advertising. Never spend $1 on growing our audience. Everybody right now who likes Outkick, you guys right now are going to go share this. In fact, right now, I get told all the time, ask you guys to share this. Share this right now. If you're enjoying Outkick the show today on both Facebook and on Twitter, share this right now with other people that you think would enjoy it as a part of your social networks. Make the share buttons pop in here. And you'll see as all these share buttons start to pop, then there's a massive amount of interest out there from people who love what we're doing here and want to share this show with other people. And that's why we do millions of podcast views every month now. So we do millions of page views. That's why we grow like we grow, because of you guys. All right, I'll answer some more questions. What additional questions do you guys have out there as you continue to make all of your share buttons pop? I appreciate it. Will I go to Tennessee, Alabama this fall? I don't know. My 6-year-old has become a huge Alabama fan. The only week that I have planned right now is I'm planning on being in Atlanta so that I can go to Atlanta and watch Alabama, Florida State on Saturday, and then on Monday also watch Tennessee and Georgia Tech. I'll do the radio show and also this show live from Atlanta over that weekend. That's my plan. But so far, other than that, I have absolutely nothing planned for the season because the season's so long. Although we are going to do this. I've already planned this, and this is going to be massive. We are going to do a massive, it's going to become a yearly trend. We're going to do a massive Outkick the Show party in Atlanta this year for the national title game. Atlanta's a massive market for Outkick. We are going to do an absolute blockbuster party. One of the greatest parties that's ever been thrown, maybe the greatest party ever to surround the national title game. I don't know who's going to be playing, but I know on that Friday or Saturday in Atlanta, we're going to do an exclusive party. It's going to be extraordinary. It's going to be the best party that's ever been thrown for the playoff national championship game. Probably will not be the University of Tennessee there. Probably will not be Butch Jones and the Vols. It'd be very surprising if it's Butch Jones and the Vols. Maybe I'll bring the Tack McKinley grandma picture. Maybe I'll dance on stage with that. Maybe I'll even be wearing a Tech McKinley's grandma t-shirt. Could happen. Can the Preds win the Cup? 100% the Preds can win the Cup. They're favored tonight, minus 150. They win that game, it's 2-2. Go back with 2 games in a row. Pekka Rinne, goaltending, getting back in order. Win on the road. I'm telling you, they're going to win it in 6. Who's going to win the SEC East this year? Got to wait and see who's going to get arrested. Too early in college football. Number one reason is you never know who's going to get arrested in the offseason. Assuming there's no major offseason arrests, man, the SEC East is dog shit. It doesn't matter. Alabama's going to beat that team. But I would say the favorite probably should be Georgia. I think probably the favorite should be Georgia, although look, Tennessee's going to be okay, Florida's going to be okay, South Carolina's going to be much improved, and Georgia's going to be okay. I'm not buying into Kentucky. Missouri's still crap, although they're going to be a better offensive team with Drew Lock. Vanderbilt still got Derek Mason. They still have no offensive side of the ball. So I would say the 3 favorites, as it is pretty much every year for most of the history of the SEC East, Tennessee, Georgia, and Florida. And tell me what happens in that road game between Tennessee and Florida. Tell me what happens between Tennessee and Georgia Tech on the opening Monday night of college football season. I think the bigger story to me in the SEC, number 1 story is, can Alabama repeat? Number 2 story, and repeat, I mean like continue to win, continue to be dominant. Number 2 story is, who's going to get Chip Kelly? Because somebody is going to get Chip Kelly. I'm not sure who it's going to be, but somebody's going to get him, and it's going to be pretty outstanding when that happens. All right. Any additional questions? You guys are fantastic. I am Clay Travis. This is Outkick the Show. You have been listening to the best show anywhere on Facebook Live or Twitter, Periscope. This is Outkick the Show. My name is Clay Travis. Go back and share it with all your friends and family. We'll be back tomorrow. Same bat time, same bat channel. Go Preds tonight. And we will be live tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. Eastern, 5 a.m. Central, 4 a.m. Mountain, and 3 a.m. Pacific. That, my friends, is going to be fantastic. Golf game is never very good. DBAP, remember, I'm a trophy husband. Go get your pink shorts. I love all of you guys. Remember, hashtag DBAP. Thanks for all you do. Thanks for growing the brand, and thanks for growing us. I'm Clay Travis, and this has been Outkick the Show. Catfish on the ice, bitches.